I studied the book of Genesis, chapter 26, and I learned a few lessons from there, and I just thought to share, and I hope it blesses you too. So, from the book of Genesis, it tells us about Isaac, about his journey, at this part of his journey. Now, Isaac is a wealthy man because Abraham, his father, is wealthy, and at this point, his father was already dead. And of course, you expect that the Bible makes us understand that Abraham left his wealth to Isaac, a good portion of it. So, there was a famine in the land where he was dwelling. That kind of famine that can affect a rich man, affect him enough for him to want to relocate from that environment. But the Lord told him to remain there. The Lord asked him to remain there and he obeyed. And of course, that's commendable. But then something happened. In that land, he decided to lie about the identity of his wife, that, oh, she's my sister, she's not my wife. And why he did that was to protect himself from being killed on account of her, just like his father did. And the Bible makes us understand that he was there for a long time. He was there in the land of Gerar for a long time. Verse 8 tells us that now it came to pass when he had been there a long time, that the king looked through the window and saw him with his wife, what couple, only a husband and wife would do at the time. And the truth came out that, okay, I'm sorry, I lied. This was why I lied. I was afraid. And then, the truth opened up. There was honesty from Isaac, that, okay, she's actually my wife. And what happened next was something that caught my attention. In verse 12, the Bible says, then Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. Now, when the Bible gives specifics like that, like the time frame, the age, the year, or whatever it is, it's something that we need to pay attention to. I believe that is something we need to pay attention to. So he sowed in that land and reaped in the same year. There's a reason why it was specified that he reaped in the same year that happened, because the Bible, verse 8 tells us that he had been there for a long time. We didn't hear of anything that happened. There was no breakthrough. There was nothing much that happened. But after there was an opening, honesty, he sowed that same year and reaped 100-fold. He reaped bountifully. In fact, the Bible says, and the Lord blessed him. What happened earlier? So that tells us something, that even though you're obedient, if there is dishonesty in the mix, it can be an issue. It can be a major hindrance. Sin in any form is a hindrance. So there was a form of dishonesty and that hindered him. But when the truth came out, when the truth was exposed, he sowed in that land. That same year, he reaped 100-fold. And then the Bible tells us, verse 13, the man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great number of servants. So the Philistines envied him. Now the Philistines had stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and they had filled them with earth. And Abimelech said to Isaac, go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. That kind of envy and hatred that will make people stop a well. Do you know the amount of sand you need to add to a well to stop it, or stones? Envy is an energizer for people to have stopped that. Anyway, we proceed. Then Isaac departed from there. Now, the Lord was the one that asked him to remain in that land, in the land of Gerar. And now they're asking him, depart from us, depart from here, because you are mightier than us. You are too much for us. Leave. And then Isaac departed from there and pitched his tent in the valley of that same land. Just imagine being chased out of a land. You never wanted to be there in the first place because of the famine, because there was famine in that land. You never wanted to be there. But from that same place, you wanted to even depart from. They're asking you to leave. Of course, you'll be happy and say, well, Lord, you are the one that asked me to stay, now they asked me to leave, and then he leaves. But he remained in that same land, only that he went to the valley of that same land. And even in the valley, he dug wells there, and there was still a problem. There was still a bone of contention for the wells there, that the well is ours, the water is ours. And imagine having a large number of livestock and not being able to cater for them. You need water for livestock. So there was an issue. And why did I know that there was another issue that needed to be resolved in Isaac? Verse 19 tells us that also Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found a well of running water there. They found a well of running water there Even at that, verse 20, but the headsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's headsmen, saying, the water is ours. So he called the name of the well Esek, because they quarreled with him. And then they dug another well, and it went on like that until verse 22. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called its name Rehoboth, because he said, for now the Lord has made room for us, we shall be fruitful in the land. That means possibly fruitfulness was becoming an issue. Then he went up from there to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him the same night and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake. So he built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord, and he pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants dug a well. And now this is a very interesting part. Verse 26. Then Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzat, one of his friends, and Phicol, the commander of his army. And Isaac said to them, why have you come to me? Since you hate me and have sent me away from you. That's a natural response. That's the way you would talk to someone who chased you away from where you were. That tells us that Isaac was angry, he had anger in his heart, he had bitterness in his heart concerning what was done to him. But they said, we have certainly seen that the Lord is with you, verse 28. So we said, let there now be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, since we have not touched you, and since we have done nothing to you but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord. Really, you have done him nothing but good. After chasing him and fighting with him over the land, over the wells. Interesting. Anyway, so he made them a feast. They ate and drank. They went, they made peace at the end of the day. That's the long and short of it. They made peace. And verse 32, it came to pass the same day. It came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him about the well with their dog, and said to him, we have found water. The same day he made peace. That was when they found water. Now, what can we learn from here? We learn that okay, Isaac was disobedient. So obedience is important, but sometimes other aspects, even though we are obedient, there are times we are living in sin while obeying one part of the commandments of the Lord. The Lord asked him to remain in the land, and he remained there. But other issues, for instance, dishonesty, needed to be resolved. What instruction had God given you? You might be a covenant child, a child of promise, one who you have received the prophetic word, but what other aspects of your life do you need to resolve? Do you need to sort out? For Isaac, it was dishonesty. Yes, there was famine in the land, but he was there for a very long time, even as a covenant child, until the truth was exposed. That was when something happened. The same year. It's okay if we say that's a coincidence. How about the next one? And then there was issue of resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness. And when that was resolved, water that was an issue became resolved that same day. Remember, when the Bible talks about a time frame or is specific about something, that means we need to, it's drawing our attention to something. In the same year, he was opened about who his wife was. He became very prosperous, exceedingly prosperous. In the same day that he made peace with those he was upset with, they found water. So what for you, it might be making peace with somebody, or resolving issues with anger issues or unforgiveness and all of that. What do you need to sort out in your own journey with the Lord? So I just thought to share, these are some of the lessons I learned from the book of Genesis chapter 26. If there are other lessons you got from it, feel free to share in the comments section. God bless you.